Okay, so welcome everybody to this meeting of the DuPage Higher Education Service Council. My name is Elizabeth O'Kresick. I am project manager for this council, and I am just going to do a really quick recap to refresh everybody's memory on things. DHESC started back in last August in 2020, and it was created through this idea of giving DuPages to use all of the fantastic resources in higher education to support our local nonprofits and to make our community better. And so this council is currently in a partnership with Campus Compact and AmeriCorps to make this happen, and that is why we are here today. Just a quick recap on the purpose of DHESC. So we have 4 purposes, and they are to unite higher education throughout DuPage County, to support connection and collaboration of higher education and local nonprofit organizations. Very importantly, to address nonprofit community needs. And last but not least, to develop strong student leaders dedicated to social change. Few housekeeping things. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat with your name, your school, and if you are a faculty, staff, or a student or anything else. I'm not sure we have access to rename yourselves on this end, but using the chat is definitely the best way to kind of introduce yourself. We do always encourage cameras to be on for these meetings, and please be mindful of the mute button. At any point during the meeting, you can use the chat to ask questions. We will be monitoring that. And of course, yes, we are going to share the recording. We're sharing meeting materials, notes, all of that great stuff with you guys in a follow-up email. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second and take a group photo. We have been taking these for the last few meetings, and they are really fun memories. So if everybody wants to turn on their cameras for a really quick group photo, I will count down from 3. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me check to make sure it came through. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Okay, I'm gonna, share my screen again. And all right, can you all see my screen? Okay. So welcome, student representatives. This is your first meeting with us. We are just so very excited that you are part of this council. And we just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. These are our fabulous student representatives. So we want to show them off, each and every one of them. Most of them are here with us today. I know a few people couldn't make it or are running a little late, but we are just so excited for all of your unique experiences and interests that you bring to this group. And we are so grateful that you are joining us in this wonderful leadership opportunity to make our community a better place. And so thank you all of you for being here. Just a quick reminder that student representatives and faculty staff representatives is something we talked about at our last meeting in February when we drafted the roles and responsibilities that we shared. So we are asking 1 to 2 faculty staff reps per institution and 2 to 5 students. So congratulations and thank you to those of you who have filled those roles. Our agenda for today, we are going to talk about the volunteer portal and the DHESC user group in the volunteer portal. We are going to move on to some mission statement development, then talk about community needs, and then move on to partnership projects for the council. That'll kind of wrap us up with some next steps. And then we have our 30-minute optional networking session for anyone who wants to stick around. We are going to do 2 breakout rooms for students and then faculty and staff to network and connect. So I'm going to start by talking about the Giving DuPage volunteer portal. And what it is a site that is hosted by Giving DuPage for over 300 local organizations that shares over 700 local opportunities, including volunteer needs, in-kind donation needs, events, and jobs. And so it is at givingdupage.org/volunteer. And it is important that you bookmark this link. So this is something that we are going to use in the council, which I will get into in just a second. But very specifically, we are using it because of this user group that we have created. So the DuPage Higher Education Service Council user group is a place on the Giving DuPage volunteer portal for members of the council to connect with and respond to nonprofit needs, and also to visually see our collective impact as a group in service. So I'm actually going to walk through a couple things on the portal in just a second, but I do want to let you all know that there are plenty of resources available about the portal website, as well as the user groups that we're going to be going over. And I did link 2 other articles in here if you want to learn a little bit more about user groups. I'm going to go over some basic things today. And so we're actually going to go to this site and talk a little bit through about how to access some things. So let's head on over. Okay, so if you go to givingdupage.org/volunteer, and you click on the top right, there's a button that says login. Ooh, I don't know if you guys can see that picture. Okay, there's a button that says login. When you click it, it is going to bring you to the login screen where you log in with your email and password. Many of you have already created accounts and are part of the user group, and awesome. If you're not, you can, we can send our links for you to register in the group and create an account. I'm actually going to log into my account right now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So when you enter the portal on your own account, this is what you're going to see. So this is my page that I've created with my account. And just a really quick overview. Up here is a banner for your own personal account. It's a navigation menu that'll lead you to a couple different things, which we will get into. And on the left, there is a vertical navigation menu. And this is what everybody sees. Even if you're not logged in, you can see this as well. And you're going to see opportunities. So that's any volunteer opportunities, including jobs and in-kind need donation needs. Then there's also a link to get to events. There's the link to get to see all the organizations that have accounts on our portal. There's a specific link to only see the jobs that are posted, as well as the in-kind donation needs. So we are going to walk through how to access the DuPage Higher Education Service Council user group. So there's actually 2 ways to see all the opportunities that are connected that the nonprofits have posted on this portal that we have linked specifically with the council to say, hey, these are great opportunities for council members and higher education to get involved and serve and give back.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. We're still in the PowerPoint. Are you in the portal live?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I am
we're still on the login screen on the PowerPoint.
Thank you for letting me know.
Sure. Sorry, it took me a second to sort of realize that you were going along. Don't worry, it's okay. We're fine.
Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to just really quick recap. So I have logged into my account. There's this navigation up here, and this on the left is where we can see opportunities, events. You can see all the organizations. Wait, confirm, you can see the page now, right?
We are confirmed.
Thank you. And you can see nonprofit jobs, and you can see in-kind donation needs. And so now I am going to show you how to get to the user group opportunities. And so there's 2 ways. The first one is on your the navigation menu up here. You can see your initials in a bubble, and when you click that, you can scroll all the way down. You do see the drop-down menus, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So third from the bottom, it says My User Groups. And when you click that, it is going to bring you to the user groups that you are connected to. And if you are a part of the DHESC user group, you can see it right here. And in this third column, we see a button that says View Opportunities. So we're going to click that, and it is actually going to bring us straight to all of the different nonprofit opportunities that are connected with the user group. Lots of opportunities. You can scroll through and browse them. Before we get a little bit into more specifics on the opportunities, I am going to show you one other way that you can access these opportunities, which is actually on this left vertical panel over here. If you click opportunities, you can see that there are 3 ways to search and filter. So search by, you can type in keywords. Sort by gives you a couple different options and sorting all the different needs. We're going to be looking at filter by. This is a really important one for the portal. When you click this, there's a lot of different ways you can filter your needs, including distance. So if you're looking for a specific distance from your location, if you're looking for a specific interest, there's lots of different interests, including food prep, clerical. If you're looking for something that has physical labor involved, this is where you can kind of filter out those needs. But we are really specifically looking for this one down here. You can filter by user group. And when you click that, any user group you are a part of will show up, and you say search. And that is going to bring you to all of these wonderful opportunities that are linked in the portal. Okay, and now we're going to talk about responding to an opportunity. So something that's really awesome about this volunteer portal is you can actually respond directly to opportunities and needs straight on this site. So you don't have to, find the opportunity and go to the nonprofit's website. You can just do it all right on here. And so we are actually going to go to Youth Volunteer Day. And if you click on the need, you can see all the different details that the nonprofit has posted about their need. And so this one we can see is on April 24th. We can see it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's anything they included here. So it's kind of a spring cleaning day, some additional details about the event or the event need. So this one is family friendly. It is not outdoors. And so how we're going to respond to a need is right on this up here. It says respond with the little person icon right in the volunteer need itself. And when you click on respond, it is actually going to bring you right to a page that says opportunity response. You can type a little note to the nonprofit, and then you're going to say submit opportunity response, and they will be notified that you are interested in responding to that opportunity. Really quick, I want to note that respond as a team is another option. If the nonprofit selects it as something for their need, it means that you can respond with others. So if you click that and you write your little team name in there, and you can say add volunteer, and let's say I want to add Giving DuPage. Oops. And if I click here, it has already prompted me. So it knows this email connects it straight with a user on the site. You say yes, it adds your team member. And this is just a way for you and your friends or you and others in the council to respond to a need as a group or as a team. Yes. Okay. So let's bounce back to the PowerPoint now. Does anyone have questions on finding the DHESC user group or responding to an opportunity?
No questions yet in the chat, but some good networking already happening. Some clinical psych people seem to be finding one another, which is great.
Awesome. Okay, well, if there are no questions, I'm going to keep moving. So there are two different types of volunteer hours. The first one is need hours, which is anything that is connected to a response on the portal. So if you clicked that respond button on the portal and you responded to a need, that is a need hour. If you volunteered and it was not a part of the portal, that is an individual hour. So that's something you did on your own. And why this is important is because we actually are going to use the volunteer portal to track our different volunteerism through the council. So I'm actually going to jump back again to show you guys how to add volunteer hours. So we're back on the portal site. It's super easy. Up on this black navigation menu is add hours. If you click add hours, it is going to bring you right to the spot where you're going to add your volunteer hours. So the first question is, are these hours in reference to a need you responded to on the site? If it is, you'll say yes. And what it does is it'll actually drop down all of the opportunities that you have responded to on the site. And so it limits it to those ones that you have responded to. If you say no, it'll ask you for a little bit more information to confirm your volunteerism with a nonprofit organization or wherever you volunteered. Then you got to make sure you put in the date that you worked, how many hours you worked, and this is a big one, the user group. Make sure you connect your service to the DuPage Higher Education Service Council. That is how we are able to track as a group within this user group all of the amazing service that you guys do. You can also feel free to include a brief description about your volunteerism. It's a little more personal for your use, but it's just kind of fun to keep track of the different things you've done. And then say submit hour entry. This is a really important one because this is how the needs go through on the portal. And so what it does is after you submit those hours, if you said, yes, this is for an opportunity responded on the site, it is going to send an email to the organization that you volunteered with for them to approve those hours. So it's just confirming, yes, you did that volunteer work. If it's no, then you can input information about who can confirm these hours, or if you do not do that, it automatically goes. But I will talk in a second about why it is so important to have it connected to either an organization or more specifically, an opportunity on the site. Okay, any questions about adding your volunteer hours to the portal?
No questions, but somebody said good info.
Great. So this is why it's really important to submit your volunteer hours on the portal, is these volunteer resumes. And so what they are is they are graphic visual representations of service efforts. And there are two ways that they can come through, is either through the user group volunteer resume or through a personal volunteer resume. So the first example is this DHESC user group volunteer resume. I'm actually going to make this bigger a little bit. So this is a screenshot that I took. This is not a current one. We actually have more than 18 people right now in the user group. So this is how it would look when you download the user group volunteer resume for the council.
Yeah, we're not seeing the resume, Elizabeth, just so you know. We're just seeing your hour type field form.
How about now?
Not yet.
Let's see.
Try to unshare and share again. Maybe that'll help.
Technology is not my friend today.
It's fine. Everybody's used to this, right? We're all Zooming these days. Now we can see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so the volunteer resume for the user group. This is a visual representation. So obviously, we have not had any submitted volunteer hours for the user group on the portal just yet. But when we do, this is what it's going to show us. It's going to show us right up here. It's going to show how many hours our group has submitted total, how many volunteer hours. It is also going to calculate for us the monetary value of those volunteer hours, which is a really cool visualization of just how much your volunteerism is worth. This will also show us how many hours in a graph. It's a bar graph, which I'll show a better picture in just a second. And then it'll show the opportunities that have been responded to, as well as the organizations we have supported. So this is just a really great way for us to capture all of the great service that is being done through the council. So make sure you submit those volunteer hours and respond to needs on the portal, because this is how we're going to get to see and share about all the great things everybody is doing.
There is a question about this volunteer hours. They said, Lori is asking if the volunteer hours were for individual hours or the group.
Great question. So there are two different resumes, and this one is specifically for the user groups. So anytime, like when it said user groups on submitting volunteer hours and you say DuPage Higher Education Service Council, it is going to add it to your personal account as well as the user group. So that's where it'll show up if you say DHESC is on this, and then also on a personal volunteer resume. So what it is you can also, through your own account on the portal, get access to visual representation of any of your volunteerism that you have submitted. Sophia is a fake person that I have found on the internet, but this is just a really pretty visualization of what it would look like in action for all of you guys. So Sophia volunteered 57.5 hours. Her volunteerism is worth over $1,200 in time. She responded to 2 opportunities. And so this is where it's really important to include that information on the portal and respond to those needs on the portal, is that volunteer hours by interest. So we actually get to see, like, you can see visually what kind of interests are connected to the volunteer opportunities that you are responding to. So this one is physical labor and advocacy. And so any interest that is connected to a volunteer opportunity that you respond to will show up on here. And it's just another really cool way to visualize all of the service that you are doing. And these are both downloadable, which I will show you guys in just a second, so that you can share them on LinkedIn, you can share them on Facebook. You know, be proud of the volunteerism and service that you are doing for our community. While I am opening up the portal, does anybody have questions on this? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to first download the user group volunteer resume. And so we're going to do the same thing. Click on these initials in the top right and the black navigation.
Can't see the portal if you're back on the portal screen. Yeah, you're going to have to share and unshare.
What's happening today? Okay. Can you see the portal?
Yes.
Okay. So back to the initials in the top right, when you hit that drop-down menu and select My User Groups, it'll bring you here. We viewed opportunities in the 3rd column. You're going to click in the 4th column. It says View Resume. When you click View Resume, it will bring you to our user group resume. So you can see we have 26 user group members right now. And once we get these hours inputted, people start submitting hours for the user group, that's where all this information is going to show up, and we're going to see all of the great service happening. You can also select the date that you want to view the volunteer resume for. So if you want to just know how much service was done in March of 2021, you can adjust those dates and then click Go. And then on the right over here, export as PDF. You all have access to export this PDF and share this group resume. It'll download on the bottom, and you can see this is what it will look like. Very similar for your personal resume. If you click back up in this, your initials, and say View Profile, it's the first in the drop-down menu. You can see this is, I've added a few causes and interests, and I have a lot of fan organizations down here. But on this left side right here, when it has your name, it has the date you joined, total logged hours, and then this button right below that that says Volunteer Resume. When you click that, you can do the same thing and filter the dates that you want to see, and then click Go. It'll download your volunteer resume again right on the bottom left. When you click it, you can see that I submitted 5.5 volunteer hours. My volunteerism was $132.44 of a monetary impact. I did not respond to an opportunity on the portal, so it came up as 0 opportunity responses, and which is why it's still so important, because now I have no data on my volunteerism by interest, no data over here. All I can see is that I have individually volunteered 5.5 hours. Any questions on the volunteer resumes?
There was a suggestion about doing a possible research project in the future based on civic engagement efforts and the causes that students care about, which I thought was really cool and something for us to follow up with. And there was a question about, is there additional incentive or funding on any level for volunteer hours? And no, none that we can think of. I think it's hard to have funding for volunteerism and civic engagement and use a monetary incentive for those types of things.
Could I ask a question? I think I apologize, because I think I misunderstood the volunteer hours. So when we're putting those in, are we putting them in for our group, for individuals, for ourselves? I think I got that part a little bit mixed up.
So when you submit volunteer hours and you connect it to the council, it's going to show up with both the council and your personal resume.
Okay.
So the personal resume is any volunteer hours that you individually submit. The DuPage Higher Education Service Council resume is going to be any hours that were submitted with that user group connected to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking is, like, if I'm going through this for like a student organization on my campus and connecting them to it, are we logging those hours still the same way, or is it the expectation that each student has an account on this site?
So you have to have an account on the site to be a part of the user group. And so, yeah, I would say have the student have accounts on the portal with the user group, and they can submit those hours the same way.
Elizabeth, I think if I may, Lori, I think I'm understanding your question. If somebody's responding as a team, so let's say Lori's in charge of a team, like a student organization, and they respond as a team. When they enter the hours, are they entering the hours like one time on behalf of the whole team of students or people volunteering, or are they entering, does each person individually in the team have to enter? Is that correct, Lori? Is that your question?
Yeah. So like if there's that group, like they need 20 volunteers, can I respond and say, I'll bring you 20 volunteers? Or does...
Yeah. So to respond that way, to bring in a team and respond with the team, they do need to have accounts on the portal because that'll connect their portal account with the volunteer need. As well as to track any hours, it would be the individual tracking each of theirs. So if your team of 20 each did 4 hours of volunteerism, they can each put in that they did 4 hours. Does that answer your question?
So I can't respond and say, I'll bring you 10 volunteers. Each person needs to respond and say, I'm part of this team.
No, okay, so let's separate two things, and then we can definitely follow up individually, Lori, with you afterwards, or just even send a clarifying email so we can get to the other agenda. But there's the first half of this is to respond to the volunteer need, and you can respond individually or you can respond as a whole team. So Lori, if you were in charge of a whole team, you could respond just as one person on behalf of your whole team. However, the volunteer hours recording thing, what Elizabeth said is, I think we are going to need to submit individual volunteer hours to get credit for the whole group collective effort. We'll verify that because that might be there might be a way to do it in the portal, but we'll verify that. But I think your question is valid. So we'll find a clear way to show you that there's two separate things: responding to the opportunities, the first step, and then after you do the volunteer project, there's the tracking of the metrics. And so we'll just get some clarity around that. But when you respond, you can definitely respond as one person on behalf of a team, right, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if I can add to the question about funding for incentive. Some universities can offer community service work study depending on the partner. I don't know if that's something that you guys are aware of or if you wanted that addressed in this meeting.
No, but that's a good point. We would definitely didn't know about that. So that's a good point. We'll find out about. We'd love to hear if your schools are doing something like that for sure.
Great. I'm going to push on because we have a little bit more to cover still. So we are going to be moving past the volunteer portal now. So everybody kind of change gears, switch things in your brain. We were previously talking about the volunteer portal and the DHESC user group, and now we are going to start talking about some mission development for the council. And so I'm going to say that mission development is really important for all of us because we have all of these higher education institutions we're bringing together, and creating a common mission is going to help kind of unite all of us in our work. And help us all, have common goals. And so the idea is that this council is going to be its own standing group through Giving DuPage to have its own mission, to have its own vision, to have its goals, and, some united service. So the plan is not today to write a whole mission development, mission statement and go through all that process. The plan is just to get everybody thinking about it and hear from everybody about their ideas. So we're going to answer 2 questions in a word cloud activity. It's going to auto-populate for us. we're going to be answering who does DHESC serve and what does DHESC do. And so we're going to share the link in the chat. And I have to stop sharing again. Let's see. And so these are completely anonymous responses. You go in and just answer. You can either type 1 response or 3 responses. And the more a response is put in as an answer, the bigger the word will show up, which is kind of cool. There we go. All right. So go ahead and click that link and it'll open up and it should say, who does DHESC serve? Go ahead and put in 1 to 3 answers. Okay, community, awesome. Yeah, and again, these are totally anonymous. There are no wrong answers. This is just everybody sharing what they think. Cool. Awesome. The need of the all people. Oh, lots of answers coming, and this is great. All right, we've had 12 people submit. Community partners, okay. Those in need. A lot of DuPage. Families in need. Higher education. The greater Chicago area. Awesome. You can all see the word cloud, right? Underserved families, everyone. Awesome. Okay, great. So we can see that community is one of the biggest ones. Students is another big one. DuPage is another big one. Then marginalized communities. So this is really just an exercise to help us all kind of see where everyone is thinking and to help us start thinking about all these things moving forward. All right, our next question. What does DHESC do? So it should have, in the same link, it should open up those 3 responses for you to answer again. Go ahead and submit those responses and it'll start showing up for us. Again, there are no wrong answers. We're just getting everybody thinking and seeing where we're all at. Civic engagement, learning and service. Awesome. Great answers. Giving back, serving community, service. Service is the big one right now. Promoting community, identifying needs, identifying resources, uniting, support, connect. Okay. Good. Do a little bit longer. See if we can get back up to 19. Let's see, connect with volunteers. Civic engagement, great answers. Just give it a couple more seconds, see if anybody wants to submit some more responses. These are all really, really great things. Thank you all so much for sharing. This is going to be super helpful for us moving forward, and I am just glad you all were able to share your different thoughts on these things with us. All right, back to the PowerPoint. Can you all see the PowerPoint? Can't see the chat. I heard people. Are we all good on the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So kind of changing gears a little bit again. So we talked a bit about what DHESC does. And somebody said addressing needs, and absolutely, yes, we want to address our community's most pressing needs. And rest assured, everyone, the heavy lifting has kind of already been done for us. So I am sharing this resource with all of you. It is called Impact DuPage, and this group has already done an extensive amount of research and data collection. Their website goes into all the information you could ever want about DuPage County. It feels like you just kind of get lost seeing all the different data points and information about our community. So Impact DuPage is committed to creating a common understanding of community needs, gaps, and priorities that will advance the well-being of DuPage County community. And so we know that addressing needs is going to make the biggest impact. And when I say that the heavy lifting has been done for us, Impact DuPage has gone through and collected the data and reviewed it and done research to find that these are our three community needs. The top community needs for DuPage County is to have affordable housing, to address behavioral health, and to have health status improvement for our community. And so these are the biggest things that if we can address these needs, we will make a fantastic change in our community. So keeping these in mind, that this is really where our community can use that support and where we can make that change as a group. These are the needs. So we're kind of going to full circle a little bit here and talk about some partnership projects. And so we talked about the needs, we talked about how to find those needs. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of those projects that have been shared with us already in the user group on the portal. And so I pulled these four straight from the portal. I will talk a little bit about them really quick. So these are straight from the user group. The first one is from Bridge Communities. They are looking for research, program evaluation, and data science projects. So I did a little bit of browsing on that need. They already do some research and they are looking to expand it. And so they connected with DHESC because they see this as a fantastic partnership opportunity with higher education to expand their research. This next one over here is from 360 Youth Services, who needs movers for youth housing residents. So this program that they do is helping youth in the community experiencing homelessness to find homes. And so they need people to help those youth get moved in and help them with their housing situations. The DuPage Health Coalition is partnering with local pharmacies to support vaccines for people in phases 1A and 1B in barrier populations. So it's hashtag Stop the Spread. They are looking for people to support those programs. And then ICNA Relief, right over here, is looking for higher education support in creating a marketing video. And so they have, their great mission, and they're looking to get the word out, not only for people to support their programming, but to find more people that they can support and that they can help through their programming. So a lot of other ways that we can help the nonprofits is through internships. So there are lots of internship opportunities that are connected to the portal that are available through our nonprofit partners. And with higher education, it kind of seems like a great pair to start connecting some students with those internship needs. And so it helps the students not only, it helps the students by getting some real life experience in all of these different skill sets. So whether it's the communications intern, database support, social media development, fundraising, these are great ways for students to gain real life experience, but then the nonprofits in return get that support and fill those needs for those positions that they have by bringing, your different unique skill sets and your different educational backgrounds to fill these roles. And I do want to highlight that this is not just for our students in the council. Spread the word to your friends, faculty and staff. Tell your student bodies that, filling these internship needs is a way that our council can help the nonprofit partners. So students, I'm kind of putting you on the spotlight here a little bit. I want to hear from all of you, what kind of service do you all want to do? Seeing some of these projects that we've talked about, you can browse on your own. I'll put in the chat actually a link for, all of the opportunities in the user group. And then feel free to share out, kind of tell us what you're thinking, what kind of service you would like to do. Don't let us know.
Oh, come on, students. We know you have ideas on what kind of service projects or what kinds of things do you really want to do in the community?
I know one thing that we've been kind of implementing at North Central, and I know Kristen Garrity was on this meeting. I don't see her now, but she could also probably speak to this. But we have we've been doing a lot of community engaged learning courses that are kind of a more like elevated level of service that is not just kind of like meeting volunteer like manpower needs at a specific date and time, but like working collaboratively with communities to kind of solve problems that they have. And I know as a student, being a member of like those courses is really like given me some really impactful like learning opportunities, as well as like gotten me connected with community organizations that I now consider to be like valuable contacts like professionally. So it really feels like this kind of like mutually beneficial thing that I think for college students who are kind of rapidly trying to gain experience and like valuable opportunities for kind of their own professional development. I think it's a really unique opportunity to like to connect in that deeper way and engage students as well as community partners.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that you are telling us about your amazing experiences, because that is what we want to expand upon with this group. You know, those connections, those networking, that's right on the spot for us. I had another student message me and said food drives. It's another idea for service. Anybody else have some thoughts? Can browse the different needs on, yes, Shafali said first we want to have our nonprofit partners posting their pressing needs, and then we go from there. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where that portal comes in handy, as they are sharing their needs with us, telling us exactly what they need, and then we can respond in the ways that are good for the community. Habitat for Humanity looks interesting. Help the preteens celebrate their birthday. That's a fun need posted. I like that one. All right. So we are going to keep moving. Thank you all for sharing. All right. Can you all see my screen? Just want to confirm. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So April is National Volunteer Month. So happy National Volunteer Month, everyone. And so to celebrate, we have put together a bingo game for everybody. And so all you have to do is, I'm going to be sending out everybody their own personal bingo card. It is virtual. So all you have to do is bookmark that link on your computer and then click off the different boxes right on your computer. You can keep it all there. If you come, and then when you complete the different tasks, you can mark off the boxes and win with 4 in a row in any direction by April 30th. So by the end of April, so 4 in a row, if you kind of do the math, you have 4 weeks left, including this week in April. So that's one box a week to get bingo. And when you do get a bingo, just email me a picture of your card. And I will confirm your bingo. And the first 3 bingos that we get will be featured on the Giving DuPage LinkedIn and highlighting your volunteerism with our group. Does anybody have questions on Bingo Volunteer Month for the activity? Okay. I'm going to send everybody personal bingo card links after the meeting sometime soon with follow-up. Okay, so now cast your vote. We are looking to have our next meeting on either Wednesday, June 16th, Thursday, June 17th, or Friday, June 18th. We are going to going to stop the share and we're going to set up the poll. It's an anonymous poll. So just let us know which one works better for you. Check the calendar. And after you have included your answer and response, tell us in the chat. Just type morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever one is better for you, whichever time of day. Just type it in the chat and we'll calculate it all out later. Nobody wants to do the Friday in the summer. Totally get that.
I do. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Only if the meeting's on a sailboat on a Friday in June. Outdoors, safe, and on the water.
All right. It looks like, I think 17 out of 18, I might be the only person that hasn't responded then. So I'm going to end the poll, and it looks like Wednesday, June 16th. That is when we will have our next meeting. So everybody mark your calendar for Wednesday, June 16th. That is when we will have our next meeting. And we're going to go through the chat and determine what time of day works best for everybody, and then send out a save the date email.
Seeing a lot of afternoons, though, just as a side note. There's a couple of mornings as well, but we'll gather it all up.
Sounds good. Oops, stop share results. All right. And let me reshare my screen. Almost there, everybody. Oh, we are hopeful for an in-person meeting in the fall. Fingers crossed, everyone, that in the fall we can all meet together. Right now, we have no set in stone plans just because we don't know what to expect, but we just kind of want to get that on everybody's radar that that's kind of what we're hoping for. So next steps, if you have not already, join the DHESC user group that's on the volunteer portal, as well as the DHESC LinkedIn group. I'll be sending those links in the follow-up as well. By the way, those are each boxes in bingo, so they're super easy ones. And if you guys have already joined those groups, you may be able to knock off a box already. Volunteer through the portal, and please remember to submit your hours. We are really hoping for some great volunteerism over the summer months through the council, just to get things moving, you know, and start seeing some of that great service that's happening. Complete your volunteer month bingo, and remember to email me your card when you get your bingo, and I will follow up with bingo winners about their LinkedIn posts, which we can tag you guys in as well. So that's kind of cool. The next meeting will be Wednesday, June 16th, and then stay tuned on community resources. So if you all remember, a lot of you, thank you for submitting, submitted the form for sharing your higher education resources that your school has. And we are hard at work creating those resources for you guys and for the webpage to show off all the great resources. So I just want to share really quick some of the progress that we've had with those. This is one example of a resource that has been created. So you can see the logos on here, the title of the resource with a hyperlinked link right here to bring them right to your page, as well as a brief description about what that resource is. Benedictine has shared 8 resources with us, so they have a full resource document for their school-specific resource, as well as the contact information that's included. And for everyone that has submitted, this is where we're at right now. There's still a couple tweaks that we will get back to you on, but anyone who has submitted their resources is included in this.
Can you zoom in on the page, Elizabeth, so people can see it a bit bigger?
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah, so with the DuPage Higher Education Service Council, their logo's right on there, and then these are the linked links. Kind of a funny phrase, but yeah. So I do want to show one example. Here we go. So this is what it would look like with all of the social media links included as well. Like I said, a couple of tweaks still to do on these documents, but this is a little bit of an idea of what it's going to look like for everybody. I'm gonna scroll through a little bit faster. So thank you everyone who has submitted those already. We are looking to upload them onto the webpage as soon as possible for our nonprofit partners to start looking at all of the fantastic resources and assets that each of your school has, so they can start building those partnerships, start understanding what kind of connections and collaborations they can make with your schools. All right. And switch it over again. I will pass it to Shefali to talk about Giving DuPage Days.
Great. So we just wanted to close and share one big event that we have coming up. It is an online fundraiser. Giving DuPage Days is our biggest event of the year. It's an online virtual fundraiser for over 100 charities this year, taking place April 26th to the 30th. Last year, we were fortunate to raise over $229,000 for 80 charities. This year, we're upping the ante in terms of our total goal, as well as the number of charities that are involved. It's a great way to support local charities. Minimum donation is $5, so everyone can just donate $5 or $10. But more importantly, if we want to have success and help all these different amazing causes, everything from like poverty, hunger, homelessness, housing, help animal welfare, youth, seniors, veterans, like every cause is covered by multiple organizations. But we need help in a county as big as DuPage to help spread the word. And so we created 10 ways for people to get involved that are free, easy, no donation necessary. Help us today spread the word at that link. So I'll put the link in the chat as well. We really would love everyone to get involved with helping spread the word. Most of it is social sharing, but it's this sort of 5-day event has such a big impact on our local nonprofit community that we're asking everyone to get involved with the outreach side of things. So if you're able to do so and use your personal voice, we would be grateful.
Yes, and there are some Giving DuPage Days boxes on the bingo cards as well. So you can kind of knock out 2 birds and help the community and also get a bingo spot knocked off. All right. And this is our contact information for me, Elizabeth O'Kresick, for Shefali, the Executive Director of Giving DuPage, and Natalie Follett with Campus Compact, if you want to get in contact with any of us. Thank you all so much. I know that was a lot of information, but we are really glad that you stuck with it, with us through it, and are so happy that you are all here. Thank you, students, for joining us. We are just so excited that you are going to be a part of this and help us really build up this fantastic effort.
So we covered a lot of information in so many different areas. And for students, this is your first chance. And we also know some folks popped into the meeting like 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 3 minutes late, and you might have missed some of our initial slides. Are there questions? Are people confused? There's so much covered, from the volunteer user group to the asset resource thing to the bingo card. Elizabeth, I don't know if you want to share some of the bingo ideas that are easy so folks know how the volunteer bingo can work, but we can definitely take questions. We've been kind of answering them along the way. And then Natalie, if you have any thoughts before we go into networking. We have a few minutes before we start that.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth did a great job of outlining everything, and I'm really excited that so many folks are here. So I'm gonna just let folks ask questions.
Lori's got a question. Feel free, Lori, and this is a great time to have everyone unmute themselves.
I just wanted to make sure so the online portal is ready to go. So those are live needs. We can start responding to them if we have it.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And if the organization has like COVID restrictions, are they posting that, or is that something we find out later?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's always good for every volunteer or every group to do their due diligence and verify before, like while you're responding to the need. You can reach the organization and their contact info by clicking on their logo. It has their name and their email and their phone number. During COVID, sometimes people are hard to reach, so calling and emailing might be best to do both things. Some organizations are posting when they have safety restrictions or rules that they need everyone to follow, and some are not. But again, I just urge everyone to kind of definitely take on that extra step during this time and just verify with the charities first on who's doing what. Great question, Lori, great question.
So there was a question in the chat about the volunteer portal and accessing it for other people involved, but who couldn't make the email. And yes, so we will be sharing all of this information with anyone who's connected to the council, and then you can feel free to share it with anybody at your school. I'm also I'm probably going to be creating a video on all the portal instructions that I talked about, so you don't have to watch this entire meeting all over again. You can just watch the specific little part that you need to know how to do. So I'll be sending those out as well in the future, so you can share all those with everyone and use the portal. Again, like, this is not just, the portal is for all community members. And so the user group is just a little section that we chunked out for us, but those needs are there for the entire community.
That question has me wondering, and I'd like to pose this to everyone. Do you think it would be valuable for us as Giving DuPage just to host, like, here's the volunteer portal, here's a resource on how to volunteer, here's how you can use it, here's how you can track your volunteer hours? Like, would that be a good program for us to host for all students, and we could just send an invitation and students can sign up? We would obviously make that like more like a 15-minute, 20-minute kind of tutorial rather than like, this is different what we're doing for our user group. But if you think people, especially students, are unfamiliar with this resource and how to use it, in terms of how to even produce a volunteer resume and things like that, we'd be happy to host that program. Is that something of interest?
I'd also be curious to hear that I'm sure schools might have alternative tracking platforms. And so what does the integration look like with if a school has their own platform, or is there a way to create a group on behalf of your school that fits within this platform? Just because making students fill out 3 or 4 different forms registering the same hour is probably not going to be easy to do. And so I think just trying to figure out where am I trying to point them if we want to create tracking, and if I need to come up with my own reporting for hours served or volunteered. Am I using my own platform that's independent of this? Can I use this as a resource for that?
Good question. It's not one I thought about, so I appreciate it. Yeah, it would make it a lot harder to have students doing it multiple times. Integration is always tricky. So especially because for us, at least this volunteer portal platform is a licensed platform. So we're kind of buying wholesale whatever they offer, and they don't always offer easy integration on the API side. So anyway, but it's a worthy question, and we'll kind of follow up and start looking into that. And we welcome any thoughts that you all have to like make it a streamlined process, because you're right, nobody likes to do things 5 times. That's for sure.
My first kind of initial thought on that is I have to look into it a little bit more, but there might be a way for your school to create its own user group as well. And then there might be a way to just link, like, instead of doing different platforms, just say, I want to link to the Wheaton group and I want to link to DHESC, and it should auto populate both groups. But I can look into that, and that would kind of then, all in the same place. You just submit it once, if that helps.
Yeah,
and Lindsay, I'll mention, you asked, so the North Central portal is actually the same exact portal as the Giving DuPage portal. The only thing is we'll verify. I don't think the user group translates over. So Elizabeth, let's just talk to Galaxy Digital and find out if the user group translates over, because all of the needs that we have posted on our site are actually already on the North Central site, because we have a data sharing agreement. And so your site is our site, but just with all of your branding and packaging. Other questions, very good feedback, exciting, honored to be a part of this. Thanks, Samia. We really appreciate it. Great feedback happening over here.